Hey there, everyone. Welcome to your newest training, Growing Your Business in 2020. The time is now. It is the most perfect time of year for you to put forth the effort and have the results to go along with it. Let me tell you a little bit about why this training is timed exactly for right now and what we have to look forward to. The reason why this is probably one of my favorite trainings, it's one of my most popular and my most personal favorite, and it's because I see the most success with it. It's this time of year that we have this magic tool in Saleabration that is going to help you really put forth the effort and the results to go along with it. There's other times to build your business, obviously, and whenever you put forth an effort, you're going to see some results. But when you do it right now, during Saleabration, during this time of year, I have seen the biggest and best results of all. This really is the magical time. People just seem to be happier because they're getting free stuff. New recruits are happier because they're getting free stuff. And then that means they right away can jump in and still get more free stuff. Stampin' Up! Has such a blessing to allow us, and sometimes we take this for granted, but they allow us to be customers and a hostess and a demonstrator all in one. So we get our discount, plus we get the customer rewards, plus we get paid and flex points and all the demonstrator benefits, plus we get the host benefits as well. Not many companies are able to do that. So it is an exciting time. And so when you put forth the work and the steps, you will see more results than any other time of year. To give you a little bit of a backdrop for those of you, my name is Rhonda Wade. I have been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for 20 years and a trainer for 11 years. Obviously, having a downline, I've been training them for the whole 19 years that I've had a team. But the last 11 years specifically, I've been working with demonstrators all over the country and all over the world, helping them build their businesses. So we're going to pull from that knowledge. We're going to pull from what we've seen that works in businesses, especially right now. Now, the cool part is trends change, things change. And when I was writing this series, I was feeling both pros and cons, this is such an awesome time of year, but then I feel like some of the things, I say them all the time, and people have been training with me forever, like, Rhonda, I've already heard that. But the truth is, the things that we need to hear right now are things we all need to hear. Some of them are tried and true basic things. Some of them are new concepts, maybe some new ways to grow your sales, and new ways to train your team or to find new team members, maybe new ways to look at growing you and helping yourself become a better version of you. So I did break this up into 3 specific parts, and we are going to pull off of the knowledge of helping hundreds and thousands of demonstrators and seeing what has worked and where we've seen success in my personal business, but also in many demonstrators' businesses. We don't ever want to compare. The beauty of what we do is that we are all here to see each other be successful. The greater that you do, the better that we all do, and the better that Stampin' Up! Does. And ultimately, that's what we're all about. We all want to see Stampin' Up! Be the most successful they possibly can. So every single year, I have seen businesses soar. So I want you to ask yourself, is this year going to be your year where you're going to make that difference over the course of the next 3 months? We're going to focus on growth, which is going to push you out of your comfort zone. Even this very first week, we're going to focus on growing you. And some of your homework assignments might make you a little uncomfortable. They might push you out of that comfort zone. And that's what we're here to do. I'm not here to say what you want to hear, or I'm not here to fluff everything up and sound like it's easy. I'm going to tell you it's worth it. I'm going to tell you it's fun, but it's still hard work. But I'm here to tell you what's really going to work. So it's not always what you might not want to hear, but I'm dedicated to seeing your success in an honest way that I know will work for you. So the one thing I want you to do is obviously to be happy and to be secure in your business. And but I also want to, if you need to make money and you need to grow your income, or you desire to grow your business, then we have to push you out of that happy place and into a place where you're going to feel a little uncomfortable. You're going to have butterflies in your stomach. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be scared. You're going to be second guessing everything. But you have to have faith in what you're doing and why you're doing it, and to know that it's worth it. So the 3 areas of growth we're going to focus on during this training is, number 1, on growing you. And number 2, on growing your sales, which will in turn grow your income. And number 3, we're going to focus on growing your team, which again can grow your income. So hopefully this time of year, one of the reasons why this training is so important is because a lot of us were stuck, and maybe still are stuck, in this holiday fog. Let me tell you, this is a training I've been doing for 11 years. But I usually start it in December. And then that way we're ready to go January 1st, or the first week of January. But over the course of the last few years, one thing that I've noticed is that people just aren't quite ready that first week of January. Talking to my one-on-one clients, talking to my team members, and working, it seems like a lot of people are kind of slower out of the gate because we're in this fog of the holidays, or we're in, maybe financial stress from the holidays. We're still within families. We're still traveling. We're still just trying to get back to our normal routine. And so this year, I pushed this training, my Saleabration focus training, off into the 15th or the 16th. It is almost the 3rd week of January, because I need you to be in this game with me. I need you to be ready to go, to be willing and ready to take on the action steps that are going to be required of you as we move forward. So we're going to start off right away with focusing on how we can grow you. A lot of times I see people still in this fog, or mentally not quite there. And then it's really hard to take action steps when you're physically and mentally not able to take on anything more. So we're going to focus on time management today. We're going to focus on tools you can use to create time in your schedule. We're going to focus on decluttering your brain, decluttering your room, and how you can focus on moving forward in as healthy of a way as possible. Because I want you fully engaged into this training with me and able and ready to move forward. So let's start off with our first page. So if you don't have the handbook printed, I highly recommend that you print it and have it with you, and you can follow along. This is kind of an outline that I'm going to follow. It's a place where you can sometimes take notes, or you can refer back to later. Sometimes some of us read and learn, and we watch and learn, and this way you can do both of them together. But the first exercise I would like you to do is, there are 2 things, and every year I love to do these 2 things. The first one is, what are your main goals that you want to accomplish this year? So these aren't dreams, these aren't pipe dreams, these aren't, I would like to build a business from scratch and sell $100,000 this year. Like, those sometimes are just like dreams that we'd like to do that. But this is goals that you're going to actually work towards accomplishing and that are realistic. Now, they might push you, but there's still things that you have to have an action step this year to making it become a reality. Next step, we're going to talk about dreaming. So these are goals that are in your business, and they're goals in your life. It might be promoting the Silver Elite, or promoting to your next level. It might be earning the incentive trip, the Eastern Caribbean cruise. It might be, doubling your team or doubling your income. It might be making $1,000 a month. It might be making $5,000 a month. What goal do you have in your business that you want to work towards? Life goals might be, I would like to lose 15 pounds. I don't like putting weight on there, but that's usually one of our life goals in there. It might be drinking water every day, staying hydrated. It might be some personal things that you have that you need to work towards. Some of my goals we're going to cover today are some personal things that I know I struggle with, especially as I've gotten older, that we need to work towards. So these are goals that I want you to write down. I just put down 5, but you can put down 10. You can put down as many as you want to, but you really need to think about it. This is not, some things might just pop in your head, but other things you need to kind of think about different goals you want to accomplish. Now, the next step is, what are your dreams? These are things that you would just dream about. Where will I be 5 years from now? So the year 2025. So I'm thinking, okay, this is how old my kids will be. I'm going to be 49. As I'm 44 right now. Where do I want to be when I'm 49? Where do I want to be in life? Where do I want to maybe be financially? What are some of my dreams? So the first time I did this exercise, I've done this exercise several times. And the first time I did this, I'm just going to give you an idea. Some of the things that personally I wrote. I was a 20-something Rhonda. I remember writing down that I wanted to have a front porch. I didn't have a front porch or a back porch. I had no porch. I lived in an apartment, and I would love to have had a front porch. That was a dream of mine. I wanted to be able to have an SUV. And again, that was enormously huge to me at that time. There was no way, we didn't even own our home it was financially crazy to think I would ever own an SUV. My other dream was to have like one of those really big bathtubs that had the jets and you could soak in it. And that was like the coolest thing to me. Again, I could never imagine. I didn't grow up in a house like that. I didn't ever imagine that I ever would own a house like that. One of my other dreams was to have a little baby girl. I had 2 young boys at the time, and my husband told me we were done with 2, and a dream of mine was to have a girl. Again, what control do we have over that? Especially once my husband said no, but that was still my dream. I had these dreams. And honestly, I can't remember what number 5 was, but I remember those 4 vividly. And when I wrote them down, I almost became, excited about them. And I'm here to tell you that these dreams are possible with Stampin' Up. With a direct sales company, there is no cap to the money that you're able to make, because you need extra income to probably make a lot of these things happen. And you need income that is not capped by anybody else, but your own dreams, goals, work, desires. Every one of those things did come true, and every one of them was because of Stampin' Up. Now, yes, it was because of a lot of prayer, a lot of work, a lot of opened opportunities, a lot of tears, a lot of joy, but they did happen, right down to me having a baby girl. Those who know me know I have 4 children now, actually, but my husband allowed us 7 years after we had both boys, so 10 years after one and 7 years after another, allowed us to try again. But it was 7 years that he had told me no. But what he said yes to was me being able to stay home and take care of my children, and then I could have another one because I was making income enough to be able to do that. Otherwise, he needed me to go back to work, and so that I would have income from there. And then actually we even had another baby, and Stampin' Up! Cruises definitely had something to help with both of those. But it is true, like these dreams were made real because I'm a part, and you are a part of a direct sales company that will provide you with bonuses, that will provide you with extra income, that will compensate you when you work hard and when you promote and when you grow. So these dreams are very possible, and it may take you 5 years to get there. I don't remember how many years later after I reached some of those. It might have been longer than 5 years, but I do remember reaching all of those, every single one of them, and every one of them was because of my affiliation with this direct sales company and the passion and the income that it provides. So I want you to push yourself. Now the fun part is that you need to write these down, and I'm going to follow this along with you, and you're going to tuck them away. Now I have a filing cabinet where we keep all of our important documents, and the one that is my yearly goals, I will put them into the front, and the ones that are my 5-year goals, I'm going to put into the back. And so then I will open it up on January 2025, and next year's I'll open on January 2021 and see how I did on my goals. I remember one of my goals from last year, because I opened my sheet already. One of my goals was to shower every day. Isn't that funny? Like, I was like, wow, that was something, and I did not meet that goal, but I am much better See, we're all different. We all have different goals, and that was one that I really had to work on. So the biggest thing is you want to share that with other people. They need to know what you're working towards. And so these goals are important to write down so you know, but then also to share them with other people. A strong mind and heart will give you the ability to take action. So this week we're going to take some action to get your attitude and your mental state in a place where you're ready to take this journey ahead. You're ready to know that it's not going to happen overnight, but you are ready to tackle whatever it's going to take. So we have time management, bullet journaling, lining up your helpers and your partners and delegating, cleaning up your space. Your space might be mental space, it might be crafting space, it might be your home, but your space has got to get decluttered in order for you to be able to perform better. And then lastly, the confidence in who you are and what you have to offer. Sometimes that confidence can be all that it takes for your success. So let's start off with time management. The first thing that I ask any new training client that I'm working with, or maybe it's a team member who wants to set her goals, or any new one-on-one client, the first thing I always ask, besides what their goals are, is how much time do you have to give? What time do you have to give? A lot of them haven't even thought about that. All these things you want to accomplish, but my first question is, well, when are you going to accomplish it? We have to get very clear and very precise about when you're going to work your business. No matter how long you've been doing this, this needs to get revisited as well, probably a couple times a year, as to when am I going to work? So that way we share that information with others so they know our schedule and we know our schedule. It helps us to stay disciplined and it helps us to get things done. So, and seeing it in black and white can make all the difference in the world. Sometimes when you see it in black and white, you're like, I can't get all this done. There's not enough hours in the day. Well, if that's the case, you can be realistic and say, okay, I can't do what I want to do because I don't have the time to put forward. Now, I don't like that answer, but that is a real answer. Or instead, you can say, okay, this has to go, and that has to go so that I can make time to build this business that I so badly want to grow. So you have to, but you will never know that until you identify in black and white when you are able to work. So look at your calendar and look at it closely. Every single hour, where are you able to work? Where are you able? Now, do not sacrifice too much sleep. So a lot of people I know that maybe work full-time or full-time commitments, they say, okay, I'm just going to work all night long because that's when my family's asleep or that's the time I have available. And I'm here to tell you, those people crack and burn out every single time. You cannot sacrifice your sleep. Remember, I want a strong mind and a strong heart. I need you to be healthy. And if you're not getting your sleep night after night after night, you're not going to be mentally strong to be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish and to get done. Or it's going to get done very haphazard. Or you mentally are going to break down in tears all the time just simply because of lack of sleep. So now if it happens occasionally, then that's understandable, but not something you can't map out your business plan by keeping yourself up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning every night. So what hours do you have to give? You need to write that down. Maybe it is a couple hours in the morning before you leave for work or before the kids get up, or before you have breakfast with your husband if you're retired, or you take the dog for a walk. When are you going to? What exact hours during the day? Some people who are retired or some people who don't work are the least productive because they're all over the place. They're not disciplined. And so if you don't have a full-time job, or if you do, or if you have some sort of full-time commitment, no matter what it is, we all have to be disciplined with the time that we are going to work. So I want you to actually write it down. These are the hours every day. So you take your 7 days of the week, and these are the hours I'm going to work every week. Now, obviously, there's going to be flexibility in there when you're on vacations or an appointment comes up, but for the most part, you need to be 90% consistent. With any job, there's always going to be days where you're going to have to take off or have sick days, but you have to identify what is your work schedule on an average consistent week. And if you're working 24/7, that's not okay either. I love you, and I love you with a healthy marriage and a healthy children and a healthy friendships. And it's not okay to work 24/7. You eventually are going to affect your relationships in your life, or you're going to affect yourself. And so you really have to map out, when are you going to work? So this is good for everybody. People who work too much, people who need to be able to find time to work, and people who don't work enough because they're not disciplined. So all of us need to do this. We need to find that time, and then we need to actually sketch it out. So sketch out what a typical week is. Now, you could use a blank planner. You could just write it on a piece of paper right now. Like, just write down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I can work, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. I can, maybe you have every other Friday off, so you can work all day on Friday. Maybe you need to work on Sundays from 5 to 9. I don't know what your time is. Everybody's is different, but you got to map out when it is possible for you. The other thing you got to think about is sketching in there. Now, what are you going to do with that time? I actually want you to kind of sketch out a plan. Number one is family obligations. I never want you to sacrifice your family for this business. You don't have to. And if someone says you have to, then that's just not true. You can still be a great mom and a great wife and a great friend, and still volunteer in your church and still serve, but still run a very successful business. It just takes a lot of discipline and balance. Number two, when are you going to design? You are a creative. This is your bread and butter. If you're not designing, then you're not going to have the tools to be able to market and the tools to be able to run classes or the tools to be able to sell. So designing time has to be a high priority in that schedule. And it needs to be scheduled as to when you're going to design every single week. Number three, marketing. So that here's the flip side. You could spend all your time designing, but if you're not marketing, then you're not going to sell anything. Some of the most successful demonstrators I know are not the best stampers, and vice versa. I know some extremely talented stampers. I mean, they're more talented in their one pinky than I'm in my whole body. But I market 10 times more than them, so I sell 10 times more than them, or it's vice versa. So if you're not marketing, if you don't have time for marketing, that's email work, video work, blogging, sending out communication, doing postcards, posting every single day on your Facebook page. Like, these are things that you have to market what you're offering. If you don't, then you're never going to be able to sell more. Number four is your prep time. When are you going to prep for your events? And that will be getting your events in there and then finding out time to prep either the day of or the day before, or maybe you have to prep on a Sunday for all of your classes for the week because you don't have time during the day. Whatever it is, you need to make sure, when are you going to be doing your prep work, so you're not staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning trying to cut things and punch just because of simply bad time management. Team training. When are you going to train your team? On a weekly basis and a monthly basis. Weekly can be just short little things, but you still have to make time for it. And monthly, when are you going to be doing your team meetings? Customer service, another huge thing that needs to be scheduled, because otherwise it falls through the cracks. When are you going to be doing your thank you cards? When are you going to be chatting with your customers online? You need to set aside time to be able to comment on things, communicate, do communicative posts, or create cards to send, do I miss you cards, or I'm thinking of you cards, or all those kind of things. That's great customer service. When are you going to do your online work? First of all, you don't have to do online work. This is if you want to do online work. So if you do, when are you going to take pictures and type up tutorials? When are you going to film videos, edit videos, upload videos? All that stuff is very time consuming. And so you need to have that in your calendar if it's something that you want to do. I know equally as successful people who do blog and don't blog, who do live and who don't do live, and vice versa. So it's whatever you choose and want to pursue. And lastly, When are you going to take care of yourself? When are you going to have time for you to be able to maybe do yoga or work out or walk? When are you going to, read your Bible or meditate or read a book or have quiet time? When are you going to spend time talking to your mom or your sisters or your best friend? When are you going to have time to have a lunch date with your husband or a date night with your husband or a partner or a boyfriend? You have to have self-care in there if you're going to do this for the long haul. If you're going to represent to your team a business, but also a healthy life, you need to have that self-care in there. Like I said, I love you and I don't want to see you crack and realize and put too much in without having enough coming out. So we got to take care of ourselves along in there. That's a priority that has to get mapped out into our schedule. Discipline is the name of the game. Once you get that schedule written down, which that can take a while to do all of that. Just so you know, once you get it down, after that it's just tweaking and changing. It's much easier to get back in the routine. But if you're starting from scratch, this can be a little overwhelming. But sticking to the schedule requires discipline. It means if I have Friday, I'm going to work from 9 until 2 o'clock, and my mom calls me and says, hey, do you want to come over and have lunch? I'm going to have to say, no, Mom. I have to work. I'm working, but I could do it next Friday. Let's write it in. So, or it might be, so many things that I want to say yes to, but I have to say no. But that's okay, because there are other times on my calendar where I have the yes. And so we'll find one that works. So I'm not saying you're not going to have to sacrifice some things, because you are, but you're going to also be organized enough that you'll have areas where you can say, yes, but I can do it here and I can do it then. So sharing that schedule with a loved one and family members is very important, so you have some of their support. They need to know what your passions and your goals and what you're working so hard for, and then for them to see it in black and white is very powerful, and you need that support from them. So time management, write it down, sketch it out. Some things are going to have to go so that you can add some other things in, and letting go of things like waste days. So it's all about discipline. Sometimes we get watching videos or reading articles or doing things where we're not able to, we could be working at the same time and getting so much more done. Okay, next we're going to tackle what's called bullet journaling. And this is something that I'm not going to teach because I'm very new to it myself. I'm going to share with you this bullet journaling method. It was shared to me by Kay Katloff and then Jenny Pauls, and they're part of our Creating Success training program. And then there was many others that said, oh yeah, I do it too, but how it's changed their life and have been able to keep them organized. So I was curious and I watched this video. So I gave you the link in the handbook to click on. And it is a very simple method. You don't need to own anything. He just uses a notebook. You don't have to buy. And if you just go to Google, I Googled it and it pulled up all these websites where you had to buy things and buy their notebooks and buy their planners, and you don't have to. You can start with a regular notebook. Now, I did buy an actual planner, but just so you know, you do not have to. And I bought a planner starting about 2 months ago. I was on a hunt to find a very specific planner that not only helped me with this bullet journaling and had a place for it, but which is basically a daily to-do list. And I'll explain to you here in a minute. But this went along with one of my personal goals. One of my goals this year was to read the Bible every day, was to stay in God's Word in the morning before my day began. So I had to map out the personal care time. It meant other things had to move, and I had to have something that would help keep me accountable, where I could, tell me what to read, and then I needed to have and share that with people so that they might want to take this journey with me, and then also just so we could be there to support one another. So I needed to find a planner that embodied both of those things. So this is a planner, and don't ask me the link of it because they're all sold out. It was on an Etsy store, and she's all sold out. So, but just so you know, they have other ones that are like this. The reason why it took me so long was because I wanted it to be spiral bound, because I like to have a spiral bound one, and I wanted it to also include a Bible reading plan. And so you might not need that, but that was mine specifically. So what you do need though is to have a calendar at a glance. So again, if you watch this video, you can do that right on a notebook, and it teaches you how to do it. Just number 1 through 30 or 1 through 31 or 1 through 28. And then you're going to see how to work that. But this one was the whole month at a glance, so that I could see what every day entailed. But then the next big thing is your daily. The next pages are your daily to-do lists, and it is this was December 30th. So I didn't go back to work until this day here, and it's starting the week off. So starting on Sunday. I would spend some time and fill in the next day and what needed to be done that day. And I also then will carry over anything that I didn't accomplish the past week that needed to get done. And then the cool part is that obviously you can keep adding to this list. Now it's not listed out hourly, but you can put the hours that things have to get done by if you have appointments that day. But otherwise, this is my daily to-do list. When it's done, you can see there's a check mark next to it, and then it's done. If something does not have a check mark next to it, then it gets moved to the next day at the end of the day. So every night before I go to bed, or the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, is I pull this out, and we update the current to-do list. So the next week, again, we just are going to go ahead and write everything down. When it gets done, it gets checked off, and what doesn't get done gets moved to the next day. And as things pop in my head, I write them down. And I write them down on that day, if I can get it done that day, or I say, oh gosh, no, but that has to just get done by Thursday. So then I'll write it on the Thursday page. If you have an appointment, you write down the hour that it has to get done. But bullet journaling is so important, powerful, to take things off your brain and put it on paper, and then to stay and continually move. You will not be so overwhelmed as soon as you start writing things down. But not on a post-it note here and a post-it note there and a notepad here, a notebook here, your planner here, your calendar here. But to keep everything in one place is so powerful. Now, again, I love mine because it's got, memory scripture verses for the week, and then I can write down what I'm learning during my Bible study time. But every single week, personally, one thing that I really struggle with is getting things mailed out in a timely manner. So I have a special spot at the very bottom of every day is what needs to get mailed out that day and to whom, so that I can check them off. So it might be price patrols, thank you cards, team recognition, freebie Fridays, door prizes, things like that. So my bottom is based on that. So I've been doing it for about a month. And I love it, absolutely love it. And I feel so much more on top of things. So one of my goals this year was to be more organized, or at least just take things off my brain. My brain is getting old, and it's failing, and it's not as powerful, as strong as it used to be. And I know that will only get worse as I get older and busier. And so we need to be able to do something specific to compensate for that, for our busyness, for our, getting pulled in every direction. So this is not just business, this is also life for me. So I have, call a doctor for my daughter. I have doctor's appointments on here. I have the things that my husband has told me to do, because he tells me all the time and I forget. And he gets frustrated with me, as he should. But then it's something where it's all there, and then I just check it off. If it's not done, then I move it to the next day. So the other days get a little bit fuller as it goes, because things kind of move over. But I'll tell you what, it also makes it so that I sometimes don't finish my day until every check is done. And a lot of those things I would have totally forgotten just because of life or busyness. So this to-do list is very flexible. It's very moving. It's, yes, there's some hours in there, and then some times where it's just something that has to get accomplished that day, or you want to get accomplished that day. And so watch the video. It's really, really good. And after the whole month is done, then you start off with a new month, and it's just one thing after the other. But it will really, really help you. Coming from, I'm a very naturally unorganized person, my natural characteristic. And so it's something that really have to work very, very hard on. And that is by creating tools, learning tools, and sticking to it even after I want to go off into la la land. But every day I'll be like, okay, I do this, this, and this. I'll say, stop, Rhonda, stop. Your brain is going everywhere. Go back to your list. Let it refocus you on what really has to get done. And if there was something you were thinking that should get done, then it needed to get written down, and then you'll do it. So watch your list, focus it, check it off, move it over. And it's nice when it's all in one place. So that's the important thing, that it's all in one place. So you'll see that my system is adapted a little bit from this one, and you're going to find one that will be tweaked and changed for you as well. But many of us balance Stamp It Up with another full-time commitment. Almost all of us do. It's either a job or kids or other obligations, and it's still very possible. I see extremely successful people who still work full-time jobs or have full-time commitments. But it does come down to having very strict timelines and goals and management of that. But the thing is, you can't do everything. You can't. When you start to do this, real story, I was writing down what has to get done before I leave for a vacation next week. And I was writing it down, what day is it going to get done? And by the time I got to the day that I had to leave, I was ready to have a heart attack. Like, it's not going to happen. And I'm so overwhelmed. What am I going to do? Okay, do I stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning every night? Do I go in and work on the weekends? Do I not get things done? Like, what do I do? So this is the solution to that. So number one is, you don't do everything yourself. You're not designed to. You tell me, do you know any successful company or corporation that is a one-man show? That this is a one-man company. They do everything themselves. Successful one. Do you know of one? Or do you see people who are really successful, and with them, it's like, wow, they have this person helping them and that person helping them, and they have a lot of people that are there helping them in their life. Or is that what you see? Is that what you know? And obviously, major corporations have a lot of employees and a lot of different people working with them. Do you know any boat or any cruise ship or any pontoon or any yacht that is a one-man boat, that they are running it all by themselves? I even just, running even a little boat, you need to have somebody who's going to help you dock and help you push out. But a cruise ship or a yacht, that we need this to be like, a whole man show. So lots of people, it's not one person. Do you know a basketball team or a football team or a cheerleading squad or anything that's successful with just one person? Even if you're the most awesome person and you're so successful, are you really that successful with just a one awesome person? And the answer is no. You're not designed to do it alone. You're not designed to go through life alone. And most importantly, you're designed to impact other people, be a light for other people, be a banner, be their happiness in a dark day, be their joy. And you cannot do that when you're working all alone. You're designed to impact other people. So your next step is to gather your posse. I read a book one time, and it was a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago. And it was called Cracking the Millionaire Code, and it's probably still out there. And a friend bought it for me because I was like, I don't want to be a millionaire. I have no desire for that. I just want to be, make ends meet, make a little extra money, craft and start to build my business, right? But this person knew me very well and knew that building a business is so much more than money. It's about having a purpose for this business. But the first thing that this book taught you, and this is for corporations and companies and little people like me and you, and the first thing, chapter 1, the first thing to do before you can build a millionaire dollar business or any business, number one thing was to gather your posse. Who is going to be in this with you? Who's going to be there for ideas, support? Who's going to help you? Who is going to help you get this launched off the ground? So when I read that book, it was not for my stamping business. It was actually for my Creating for Christ part of my business. And I wanted to launch this further, but didn't know how to do this all on my own. And the first thing to do was to gather my posse. And so right there, I gathered 4 people, and they recommend a posse to be at least minimum of 4 people, and then that will grow. But they're your board of directors. They're your people who are going to be in there for your heart. Every one of them had a different purpose. The cool part is all 4 of them are still very much a part of my business, my life, and creating for Christ. And that I didn't even take step 2 without them. And that's the true for your business. Gather your posse. Who is going to help you build this business? It might just be for support, or it might be actually to help you build your business. So who's going to help you with all your prep work? Who is going to help you at your events? Who is going to book parties for you and help you find people? Who is going to be helpers, or just someone to help hold you accountable, or attend events with you, or attend meetings with you? Like, you need to gather your posse. You cannot do this alone. So when I was feeling so overwhelmed looking at my calendar, the first thing I did was start to call some of my posse members to say, I need your help. Can you come in here or here? Can you do this? Can you do that? So now I know it's going to get done. Barring any blizzard to come through, it should get done. You need to have a posse that you can rely upon to be there to help you build your business. Nothing is wrong with you because you can't do it all yourself. You're not supposed to. Any successful business cannot be done alone. It's not designed that way. Your whole life is not designed to be done alone. So this is your homework alert. This is something where with this book I did, I'm going to encourage you. I couldn't go on to part 2 until I identified my posse. So who is your posse? And talk to them. As soon as I identified my 4 posse members, the next step was to call them and actually pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I want you to be a part of this with me. And this is what you can do. This is how you can help me. And would you be a part of this? My goals, my desires, this is what I see, and this is what you can do to help me. Every one of them had a different task. One of them helped with the financial part. Some of them helped with the communication part. Some helped with the teaching part. There was something for everybody to do within that. So you need to talk to your posse to see what can they do to be a part of this business building with you. So that's your homework alert. You're going to identify your posse and you're going to write them down, and you're going to let them know that you consider them and would like for them to be a part of this with you. So a few logistics about getting helpers, about delegating, about partners. So the first thing I did when I started to hold retreats was I went to go find my posse for my retreat. Like, at first I've always had a partner. I've had someone who helps me. I have someone who helps me with the design work, some of the other work. Like, never do a one-man show. So every aspect of your business, it's good to have this posse here. So for partners, delegating, and just for having assistance within your business. So number 1, how do you compensate them? Sometimes it might just be, come on over and have lunch and a cup of coffee, and you can help me punch while we visit. It can be where you actually will compensate with, hey, do you want a free class? If you want to come to a free class, would you help me for 3 or 4 hours in my craft room? It might be where you're compensating with product. If you feel like that they're working as hard, they need to be compensated. Eventually, you may compensate with income. When you're making a lot more money, then you can afford to pay people more money. But until then, it's sometimes it's just good to ask for help. Other times, you may compensate with class fees or entry to come to a retreat or something like that. Next, setting expectations with these people. Like, what do you expect out of them for being a part of your posse or being a helper? Clearly saying, this is what I'm expecting, and can you do that? And then they can set expectations with you. So don't go in blindly, because you might be like, oh my gosh, all they did was talk and they didn't get much done. And well, because you presented it with, hey, want to come over and hang out with me and help me prep. So they think it's a visiting date. You did not set proper expectations. So typically when someone comes to help out, I will say, or I'll even ask them ahead of time, this is what we have to get done. This is the many hours that it will take. And I need you to really, we need to work on this. Now we can visit a little bit while we're working, but there is going to be some times where I'll have to concentrate on my computer or concentrate on creating while you're doing some of the prep work. So we always talk about expectations, because people are not meeting your expectations. It's probably because you have not communicated them effectively. What can you delegate? Where in your business do you not always have to have your hand in everything? So maybe, yes, it's designing, but then you can give that to someone else to replicate. an easiest thing is doing swap cards or making your thank you cards or making your Christmas cards, or there's lots of other things that you can delegate out that you don't have your hands on. Now you have to do your own videos. You have to do, again, your own designing. You might want to write your own thank you cards out, but someone else can make the thank you cards. Someone else can even write out the envelope so that all you have to do is just write them and send them. But you can delegate so much of your business if you would release some of that control or release some of that need to have your hands in everything. Next is, who do you ask? Who do you ask to be a part of your posse? So a lot of times it's very good team members or .9 members that I feel comfortable working with. Sometimes it's family members are part of my posse. How I found a lot of my posse members is by who would always come to my classes, who was usually the first one there, who was the last one to leave because they were naturally helping people, or they were naturally, guiding people and volunteering and staying after to clean. So these are the people that I know that's their natural heart, is to serve. And so I really wanted to ask them to do it more on a consistent basis, or an area where I really need their help. So that is who I would typically really ask for too. And sometimes it's a friend that I want to be a part of my business and my life, and say, hey, will you come and be a part of this with me? What keeps not getting done? So this is a big thing, where if things keep falling through the cracks and not getting done, that is where you need a helper. That is where you need your posse to step in and to be able to help you. So if, for instance, thank you cards, if they're always falling through the cracks and not getting done, and it's like a month or two later, then that's an area where you need to have help. Or if you are not getting your marketing done because you're too busy doing, the prep work, and you're too busy doing all the design work, then you need to have someone come and help you with the prep work so that you can free up yourself to do the things that you have to do. So what's not getting done? That's the thing you need to say, that's where I need to get a helper to be a part of my posse. Last, look for the traits in others that you don't have yourself. So I'm a very big picture thinker. I love to plan things, but the little tiny details are where I would always struggle, mentally struggle and physically struggle. And so I love working with very detail-oriented people, ones that help me do spell check, ones that help me, stay on top of things, that this has to get done by this day. So I love, a lot of my assistants and helpers are very detail-oriented people, but they get very freaked out by the big picture stuff because they get so caught up in the little things. So we really complement each other completely. I loosen them up a little bit and they tighten me up a little bit. And so it's really a win-win situation for both of us. All right. Our next step. We only have a couple steps left. You can do this. Keep with me. Cleaning out your workspace. This is not just busy work. This is so important. I see people that do this, and then all of a sudden it's like this huge, boulder is lifted off their shoulders, and they're almost excited to go to work. On the flip side, I see a lot of people who struggle continually, and they don't do what they say they're going to do. And a lot of times, once I get a glimpse of their workspace or their craft room, I'm like, oh, now I know why. You are bogged down with clutter. You're bogged down with things that are holding you back, holding you down. And so what we need to do is we need to start off 2020 with a clean workspace. Paint your walls. Go ahead. Pull everything in the middle of the room. Go buy a bucket of paint for $45. Paint your walls. Take a whole day and do it. Then only put back the things that you are going to use and have used in the next 6 months. The rest of it, we're going to make 3 piles. You're going to throw away. It's paper crafting, people. You don't save paper forever. It needs to be recycled or burned or throw it away. The next one is going to be to donate. A lot of the things that we have, we can donate. We can donate old paper. We can, actually, I like to sell old paper. So another pile is going to be sell it. If this is in really good shape, I'm going to sell it. So if you do your buy one, get one free sale, or I'll package things up and give them away with orders that people place, but don't hang on to old stuff. Get rid of it. So we're going to either throw it away, we are going to give it away, donate it, or you can keep it. I actually use this. This is current. I'm going to keep this. So only put those things back. This may take you 2 days, but it's going to be the best 2 days that you spend. So we need to declutter your workspace. Some of you, this might take a week. My goal for you is to get this done by the end of the month and setting aside this time. Maybe you need to rearrange your room. Just rearrange things so it feels fresh, it feels new, it feels like you have a fresh start in front of you. A lot of things that are older you can sell, and we'll sell those at a sale. And we'll talk about running a buy one, get one free as a way to boost your sales, the Saleabration. But this isn't just going to happen. You need to schedule it. When are you going to clean out your craft room? A lot of people I see that are doing well, and we'll do a Zoom or we'll do a call or something. I can see their space and it looks so good. Their mind isn't so bogged down with clutter that they're able to move forward. This is a huge sticking point for a lot of people. So this isn't busy work. This is very important. Lastly, is a little bit of confidence in who you are and what you have to offer. Here's a little saying that I've heard somewhere like this. I might have butchered it a little bit, but you'll get what I mean. That everyone is loved by someone, but everyone does not love someone. So is not loved by someone. I might need to fix that. But it is basically that everyone is loved by somebody, but if somebody is not loved by everybody. So there's not a person out there that every single person loves. We all have a distinct personality, and we attract certain people to us, and we might counteract other people towards us. So, and that's okay. You're not everybody's cup of tea. You don't have to be. Just be the cup of tea who you are, and the people who love that tea are going to want to drink of that. So there's people who love potato chips but don't like candy, which is crazy, but that's true. There's people who love candy that don't like potato chips. It doesn't mean that both of those are not really awesome things. It just means that there's a group here and a group here, and you might be the sweet and salty mix. That would be really cool. But for the most part, you're going to attract the people who love you, so just be you. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't try to be me. Don't try to do exactly what I'm doing. You have to identify your strengths, identify who you are, and write that down. Clearly know what you have to offer. What do you have to offer? Maybe it's sweet and simple projects that are easy to duplicate. That's me. I'm okay with that. I don't do crazy techniques and funky measurements, and they're all sweet and simple, but there's people out there that really like that style. It was actually my friend Susan Nygaard who helped me identify that, because I was like, oh my gosh, I watch these people and I see Pinterest, and my confidence just starts to drop and drop and drop, and I'm almost embarrassed about my projects. And she's like, no, Rhonda, that's why I love you, and people love you, and I see that really people do love that form of stamping. Not everybody, some people. Some people love it and other people don't. And then the flip side, other people might like really floral and busy projects with lots of layers and techniques and styles and colors. They might love that. And so that's the people that you are going to attract. But I do believe you need to identify what your strengths are so that you embrace it and you do more of it. So I wrote down here 4 places. What do you have to offer? I also believe what you have to offer with your business. You need to be clear about that. So personally, I like to offer card making classes. I teach you how to make cards and to have a hobby. I can do that in my studio, or we can do it right in your house. I also do it live, and I also do that online. So as you can tell, I'm pretty confident about what I offer, and that's because I've practiced it. So the next one of your call to actions is going to be to create your 30-second commercial, because people are going to ask you, what do you do? What do you offer? And you need to feel confident about answering that. What do you do, or what do you offer? You know, I own my own paper crafting business, and I love it. I get to teach people, and I show people how to make paper crafting, specifically mostly card making. So we send cards, we make cards. Some of us send them. We like to really just make them and sometimes hoard them. But I do it live, so I teach you hands-on, but I also do it online as well. So that wasn't even 30 seconds, but that's just enough to capture their attention. They go like, what? That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm always like, it is a lot of fun. It's also a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. And it's so relaxing. It's more of a hobby. It can be a business, but it's also a hobby where people, just need something to be able to decompress. And this is great for so many people. So usually then I'll pull up my phone and show them my website, or I usually will have some cards in my bag and I'll show them some of the card making things that I do, and always in there with my schedule of my upcoming classes that I have that they can attend, and my business card that gives my either my Facebook information or my website where they can find me. So you need to focus on the things that you're good at. What do you have to offer? Feeling confident not just in you, but also confident in the company, confident in Stampin' Up. I am so grateful that we work for a company that's been around for 30 years, that they are tried and true. They might not be perfect, but boy, do they have an awesome track record. And I feel confident for the future of their company. They are debt-free. They're not going to go bankrupt. They're not borrowing money from anybody. And it is something where they don't overspend. And I'm so grateful for that, because I know that I can do this for the rest of my life. I can invest my time and effort and energy into a company that believes in their demonstrator base and supports us. And I feel very confident in that. And that allows me to then be confident in my business. You work for you. You own your own business. You don't work for Stampin' Up. We choose to affiliate with them because they are an amazing company for all the reasons why I just said. But you have to take ownership of what you have to offer and be proud of that, and know that you do offer services that a lot of people don't offer, and the fun that goes along with that. So I want you to write that down. I think when you write it down, you put it in print, then sometimes you're a little bit more confident. It doesn't mean your stomach's not going to do butterflies when you have to ask someone to book a party. It doesn't mean you're not going to get nervous. It does mean that the more you do it, the easier it gets, and the more confident you become, the more lives that you see changed because of what you do, because of what you offer. Like I said in the very beginning, you're not designed. Your life is not meant to be alone. You are meant to impact other people. You are meant to serve and to you make your life about serving others, but still valuing yourself, that you need to take care of yourself so that you can better serve others. That is our main goal, but never at the sacrifice of you and at the sacrifice of your health or your family. So in closing, I hoping that this grows you just a little bit to get more organized, to organized on paper, organized on time, develop some systems that are going to help you clear your brain to move forward, that you're going to set some goals and set some dreams. I want you to think big and think crazy, because I've seen a lot of crazy stuff come true in the last 20 years that I've been a part of this. And also to take the time to clean up your stuff. You're going to feel so much better and be able to work so much better with a space that you are proud of and that people can come into as well. And lastly, to grow you. I'm 44. I still don't know me completely. I'm learning me all the time, but I do learn to love me, quirks and all. I used to be so frustrated with myself sometimes, and now I embrace that about me. There are a lot of things that may be pros, but they're kind of cons, and some things that are cons that also make me a pro. The one thing I've learned is that I'm the strongest when I'm the weakest. When I'm at my lowest, because those are the times when I reach out to others to come along with me, and they help pick me up, and I'm there to help pick them up when they're at their weakest. So in growing you, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be superwoman. You don't have to have it all put together. You don't have to know what you're doing every single day, but you can certainly keep a list that's going to help you stay on top of those things and check them off one at a time. Be intentional about your growth this year, growing in you, and what do you need in your life to make yourself grow? And that is those 5 goals. So again, they can be business goals and also life goals. So once you've spent some time on this and taking action, you have a whole week till next week. Now we're going to dive into how does Saleabration really impact our sales. And we got some really good fun things to focus on, and also how does Saleabration really impact our teams and our team growth. So it does. It can dramatically change. But this week, focus on you, I know you have lots of other work to do, but take some time to put these things into practice so that we can continue to grow. Saleabration is 3 months long, and so I'm not on a race. I hope you're not on a race. We're on a journey, and March can be amazing as soon as we get people out of this holiday fog and off and running. All right, thanks. I will see you next week. Make sure to finish your homework. There's all those homework assignments on there. Fill out your top 5 goal sheet and your dreams. Share them and tuck them someplace special. When are you going to clean out your space, throw away and organize? Remember to schedule it, and please try to have it done by January 31st. Create your bullet journal notebook and your daily to-do list. And who's your posse? Identify them and let them know how they can help you build your business and just support you, which of course we know is going to come back to bless them. And lastly, identify your niche or your niche, however you say it. What's your team name? What's your business tagline? What's your passion? What makes you you? And that's what you need to identify so that you can be confident about it and then share that with others. All right, we'll see you next week.